All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to Do Hard Things Tech View. My name is Paul Delaria. I'm a partner solution architect with AWS. And my esteemed colleague, Roger Gilbert, partner solution architect with AWS, is on as well. As you know, Do Hard Things Tech View is a breakout of Do Hard Things, which we're here to inspire, inform, and immerse you in all things AWS on behalf of our customers. Today, we're pleased to be bring in a new partner, Onix, with us today. Mary is a partner alliance leader with Onix, and Hunter is the cloud adoption practice leader at Onix. Mary, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us, Paul and Roger. We're happy to be here. So Onix is an advanced consulting competency partner. We're based in Ohio. We have over 110 technical resources with 250 team members across North America, including Canada. And we're really excited to share with you some increased cost effectiveness ways to show automated security risk. So thank you very much for having us, and back to you, Paul.
Yeah, thanks for spending the day with us. Really appreciate it. As you know, as we all know, security is job zero at AWS, and probably it is the most important thing we do in order to make sure our customers are secure in the cloud. And with that, we have a great opportunity to dive deep and immerse ourselves in this really cool technology that Hunter's going to explain for us and demo for us, because it isn't a tech view if there isn't a demonstration, right? So we're going to actually open up the console and log into it and talk about automated security response. So Hunter, automated security response. Tell me more. I'm interested.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. It's a solution that helps organizations automatically remediate security findings in their AWS accounts using something called event-driven architectures. So there are native services within AWS Onix can configure that will identify some risky settings or configurations in your services, and then have some auto remediation of those in your environment.
That sounds really exciting, Hunter. When it comes to security, right, it's so broad. There are so many topics. There are so many things that we can dive in. So tell us a little bit about like what problem we are trying to solve today, which one we are going to dive into, and how that problem really impacts our customers today.
Absolutely. So there are a lot of manual processes that we hear about from customers and prospects who indicate, they have teams of people looking at and identifying risky settings or configurations or issues in their AWS accounts, and they want an automatic way to solve those problems. They want their people focused on more strategic security activities and tasks and projects. And so they want to implement some automation that will remediate the findings that are identified in their AWS accounts without human interaction.
That's awesome. So oftentimes when we talk to the customer, right, security is not always their top priority because it's not a business requirement. So they always come up with the requirement only after an audit, right? So many times they don't even know that there is a problem or that they need to address. So this one sounds like a very important one, and I'm really interested about this automation piece of it, right? So talk a little bit about the solution, right? How do we solve this problem?
Absolutely. So using some different services in AWS, and there's a lot of different options for this. You can build basically a process flow that will identify the problem, implement some rule around that, right, and then respond to it and solve it. And so in a couple minutes, I'll share with you the workflow for automated security response. At the end of the day, you know, the bottom line, Roger, is to implement repeatable security automation to reduce risk and save money for the organization. Okay, so a couple business outcomes that we've talked to our customers about is to eliminate the manual analysis and remediation processes, right, to reduce operational risk, okay, by applying automation. We want to free up time, right, for security teams, in particular, security analysts, right, risk analysts, so they can focus on the future and preventive controls and not just, you know, what's happened in the past. And then because of the native capabilities of this pattern, right, or solution, it allows companies to either reduce the amount of spend on third-party tools, or it can completely replace third-party tools, because the native capabilities not only allow for identification, but you can do the remediation of issues as well.
Yeah, and Hunter, I might add, you know, if you think about a security engineer or security architect, they don't want to do remedial, repeatable tasks.
Nope.
You know, and they're just as interested in finding ways to automate security responses as anyone, because
Right.
nobody wants to wake up at Saturday morning and have to reconfigure a security setting,
Right.
especially when you can automate that. So those resources, those people, are expensive and highly qualified, and we need to have them working on higher and more complex security problems in business.
Absolutely. And the benefit for the organization is we estimate between 5 and 25% reduction in security and compliance operating costs by implementing this automation. Of course, that depends on the scale, right? The scale of the automation implemented, but it can really help control cost, and then make sure your team is focused on the most important priorities for the business.
Yeah, and you know, the happiness factor goes up, right?
Oh,
I'm a happier security engineer because I'm working on complex problems that are hard to do.
Yep.
And that's why it fits into do hard things, right? We want those great security engineers working on, you know, the complex problems and not the tasks that can be automated.
Right. Absolutely. So if you're okay with it, I want to follow up with Roger's question about what it looks like. Can I share a slide really quick with you guys? Does that sound good?
Absolutely. We are waiting for it. Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. Let me share this. Stand by here. Okay. Can you guys see this stages slide?
Yes.
I can see it.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
So this is a high-level workflow of how the solution works in the AWS environment. Okay, there's some kind of monitoring that has to be enabled. Okay, and it's usually of some services in your AWS account. All right, that you're going to target that create maybe some risk, right, for your organization. And from that, you're going to generate log data. And that log data is really key, because within that data are going to be maybe an API call, right? Or other information that's going to be fed into a event-driven service. In this case, it's AWS Event Bridge, okay? And that detection mechanism is going to analyze based on the rules that have been set up to trigger off some other action, okay, based on what it's received. So the rules help determine the action that will occur in the environment from a remediation standpoint. So once it's triggered, there's a response, right? And this is where the automation comes in. And when I demonstrate the solution in a few minutes in the console, I'm going to talk about where Lambda in this case fits in for the use case that I'm going to demo, and that response will solve the actual problem that you're experiencing in your AWS account, and then your issues remediated and the problem solved, and you can go about your business, and you'll have an audit trail to demonstrate that this actually occurred. So for any compliance requirements or for audits, you would have some audit trail that this actually occurred in your environment.
I do have a question, Hunter. So you mentioned AWS services, systems, and apps. What kind of services and systems that we can monitor using this technology?
You can monitor just about anything. There's quite a few options in EventBridge for monitoring. Where it can get a little complex, Roger, is around the scripting that you have to create, say, on the Lambda side to actually identify and then create the response using, say, a Python script. So I'll talk about that when I go into the console. Just
Awesome.
okay. All right, so let me share that really quick. Let me go out here, and can you guys see my console here? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so this is the EventBridge service that's native to AWS, okay? There are very, very small fees related to using the service. It's a usage-based service. You pay only for what you use, right? But the numbers are so high that you'd have to use it quite a bit to be charged anything of significance. So I created a script, a CloudFormation script that built out the solution, but I just wanted to walk through some of the pieces of it so it's some of the technical information can be understood by our viewers. So there's a rule that I created called re-enable audit logging. And what I'm going to do today is just talk about, in this use case, a situation where CloudTrail is going to be disabled. Now, if CloudTrail is disabled, right, you're not going to be able to record activities or actions occurring in your cloud environment. So that creates a significant security risk for an organization. That should never be disabled. So I've created a rule that will check to see if CloudTrail is disabled, and if it is, re-enable it. So let me walk you through what that looks like a little bit. So up here is just an overview of what the rule looks like. Okay, I got the name. Right now it is enabled, right? The ARN. But the key piece of it is looking at the event pattern, okay? You can see the source is going to be CloudTrail and then an event name called stop logging. So when this stop logging event is recorded, in this case by EventBridge, it's going to trigger down here a Lambda function, okay? It's going to go out and examine that CloudTrail trail. And then if it's disabled, it will automatically re-enable it using a Python script. So let me show you what the Lambda script looks like. So this is the Lambda function that I set up for this demo, and it's going to use EventBridge as the trigger mechanism, okay, that rule we just created. And when that trigger hits Lambda, this is the script it's going to execute, all right. You can see down here, it's going to look for the service CloudTrail and an event called stop logging, okay. And the response is going to be a start logging API response back to CloudTrail. All right. And behind the scenes here, there are some things you have to do with IAM that I have set up, some roles that have to be configured in order to talk to the different services. But that's not something I'm going to go into detail on today. It's just something that would have to be considered for the solution.
Right.
So if I go,
finely granular rules-based access control is also could be a whole do hard things session in itself. So we don't need to go there today, but I understand.
Absolutely. That can be a big one.
One thing that actually, when I'm looking at this architecture and the code, one thing that blows my mind is how easy it is to set up, right? Like you are monitoring a CloudTrail logs, and the logs comes into a Lambda function, listens to the logs, and it takes action on it. And for me, it's like so much possibilities and so much of automation options, right? So we can keep expanding these features and you can pretty much you can do like a lot of things actually, right? Like remediation, notification, and all of those kind of things. So yeah, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of options with a service, Roger, and even step functions can be engaged. I mean, there's a lot of capabilities EventBridge offers that they can be set up outside of even security. But to finish this one up, what I'm going to do is you can see here that the trail is enabled, right? Logging is on this this trail I've set up. So I'm going to click on stop logging, okay? And remember, the use case here is that someone came into the environment, right? Maybe it was intentional or maybe it was accidental, but either way, the cloud trail was turned off, okay? Which, like I mentioned earlier, creates a security risk in the environment. So you can see now that the trail is off, okay? So what I'm going to do is this doesn't automatically refresh. I have to manually refresh it, but when I manually refresh it, we should see that the trail is re-enabled and logging is turned on. One other thing I just want to mention before I do that is a requirement within for this particular configuration is to enable CloudWatch logging. Okay, because that becomes part of the mechanism to notify EventBridge. So I'm going to refresh. Let's see what happens here. You can see now that it's gone from off to back on, and logging is re-enabled. And that was all done automatically behind the scenes, right? CloudTrail notifies CloudWatch logs. CloudWatch logs talks to EventBridge. EventBridge sees the violation, processes the stop logging rule, right? Goes out to Lambda. Lambda comes back and re-enables CloudTrail.
And Hunter, can I ask you a question? If you don't know the answer, I probably answer it, but how many servers, EC2 instances, did you have to configure to set up this application?
Not a one.
Yeah,
completely serverless.
And what is the scale limit? Where would a service like this peak out at in terms of like the capacity it can handle?
I'd have to look at EventBridge and what their performance or service limits are, but I don't think there'd be too much. You can scale this pretty extensively, only because of the low overhead of the solution.
Right, I agree. The point here is it's infrastructure as code. It's microservice oriented, so it can scale up or down depending on the needs of the business. And the fees you're only paying for the compute that you use, which is running a Python script that's 20 lines long.
Yes, and I mean super cheap, Paul. It doesn't get much cheaper than this, I don't think.
Right. Great. This is an awesome quick demo on TechView, kind of like a view into our tech world that we deal with every day, and shows how you can take something that's difficult and make it easy, and take those really make those security engineers and architects happier because they're able to work on more complex problems.
Absolutely. So
Mary, I think this is a great story that Onix has shown us here today, and I really appreciate you being one of our first partners to Do Hard Things TechView. What do you think? What do you think about this?
Well, Hunter's really good at what he does, and Onix is very, very concerned about helping our customers. That's what we're all about, just like AWS. So if anybody's looking for an automated security solution, very cost effective, very easy to set up, and can make your team happier because it frees them up to do the fun stuff. Onix is definitely interested in hearing from you and helping, and our contact information will be at the end of the program. And it's just been a pleasure to share this because we're so excited about it.
Yeah, and thank you for being with us. Amazon, we are customer obsessed, and we also are all builders right here at AWS, and we just love to build things, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but the process of building is the process of learning. And I just like to thank you guys for building this with us, and make the offer to anybody who spent the time with us to Do Hard Things and dive deep with us on this tech view, that we would love to have the opportunity to build with you on your security problems and work together. So, my ask would be, engage with us, subscribe to the channel, write some comments, share with your friends, and network with your colleagues. And, ask the tough questions, because we want to try to have a tech view on those tough questions and try to answer them in 20 minutes or less. So, Roger, any last words, thoughts?
I think this has been great. I think we covered pretty much a lot of things. So Onix has been a great partner with AWS. So we built this together. And they would be happy to jump into any call, or like if they wanted to have any clarification on the solution, I'm pretty sure they'll be open to helping us. So feel free to ask us, engage with us, and we'll come back to you with another tech view pretty soon.
And that's it. Do Hard Things Tech View. We went and we immersed ourselves in the technology. Thank you for listening.